Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in today to the Zenwara channel. Once again, my name is Sri Sadguru Buddha Rawa Bhagwan. And for those who have listened to other videos on this channel is focused on revealing the truth of creation through the knowledge of enlightenment. Okay, so basically the knowledge that is revealed on this channel by myself is the knowledge that is experientially gained. Okay, so you might be wondering where this knowledge comes from. How do I know so many things about what nobody else knows about, or what no one else is talking about? Okay, and that once again, that's through experiential knowledge. And once again, this video is going to be once again presenting experiential knowledge, and that means knowledge gained through experience of the knowledge. So firsthand experience. And the only way to do that, is through experiences similar to the one of enlightenment, where you actually experience yourself in the body of another entity, experiencing a different loka, if you will, or moment in time, whether it be past or present, right? Okay. And for those of you who might become Shri, to learn to push through, to push into the system, right? To push through in the cell dimension and to become part of the system. You can never break through completely, but you can join the revolution. Okay? So, and also, yes, the best revolution is a peaceful resolution. Peaceful resolution and revolution. Okay, but that's just for people who become Shri, and that was just a little word for them, people who might be at that level. Okay. After all, creation is a big place. There are other species other than humans, and different species and beings are becoming enlightened. Okay, including one being, for example, that I witnessed at the vibrationary field of enlightenment, who became enlightened, who's a humanoid bull, basically, is what he looks like. Very different species, right? And they are also getting enlightened. Well, not necessarily they, but he did. So, but enlightenment, I've also talked, enlightenment, it happens at different levels. You have different levels of enlightenment. And once you become an enlightened being, you have your development as an enlightened being as well. It's not because you become enlightened that you cease developing. Quite the contrary. It actually gives you a space on the vibrationary field of enlightenment, which becomes your own to develop. Okay. So enlightenment has been discussed in many videos on this channel, but I'm going to get to the topic of this channel eventually, and let's try that now. Except if I get detoured again. But the subject of this video is actually I wanted to give a little bit more information. In some of my recent videos, I've talked about the Vaitarani River. The moment of death, what happens after death, at the moment of death. And we've heard the story, you can find it on YouTube, of the monk somewhere, Buddhist monk, I believe, who died and who was about to be buried, and he came back to life, and he told the story of everything about how everybody had to take the route of Jesus, and just believe in Jesus, and that all the teachings that he was being taught of Buddhism were wrong and all that. Okay. Right? So, and that he had seen things and all of this, and that he had gone to heaven, and they had told him it's not his time yet, but he had seen heaven, and he describes it, with the being that greeted him, with the bridge that was the golden bridge, and all these things. But now I invite you, if you're interested in these, if you haven't listened to the previous videos, please go look at a couple previous videos on this channel. You can just look back very recently, a couple of videos about the Vaitarani River, what happens when you die. These videos would be necessary to be understood before this video is understood. So going back to discuss the paths in the woods, right? I've talked about, you get to the Vaitarani River, that loka, when you die, right? You get to the river. Different streams of different religions and our cultures are emerging at different places on the river. So a little bit different places on the river. And when you have the river, you have the bridge. And you have the bridge over a river. And it's guarded by a couple weird looking beings, but they tell you if you take the bridge, you're going to be judged. You accept to be judged. Okay? And that's all they pretty much tell you. Right? Well, I've been told that the conditions to get to heaven are a little bit too strict, so I'm trying to help out a little bit. Okay, so when you get to the bridge, okay, you have the bridge. Some people think, okay, I'm going to learn how to cross the river by myself and get to the other side myself. Okay, some people that don't want to get judged. Some people, they jump into the river, they think that they're going to escape the judgment of God. I don't know what they're thinking exactly, but they're going to dissolve. And a lot of cultures, they're going into the river. Okay, and they're dissolving. It brings them back basically to their initial state, and they restart basically their circle of karma. It's the continuation of the wheel of karmic and karmic rebirth. The basically the cycle of suffering is a way of seeing it, because when you're talking about ignorance, it's the ignorance of the truth that brings the suffering, and unfortunately, people are very hard-headed. Okay, so some people are jumping in the river because, for example, they're merging in line and people in front of them are jumping the river, so they jump in the river. That's the river of chaos, the Vaitarani river. You don't want to jump into it. It's also a river that's visually seen when you look at Kailash mountain on the side of the male gods of the mountain. You can see indentations in the mountain that go all the way from the center of the mountain all the way to the top. That's the Vaitarani river. And different gods are at different levels of the Vaitarani river, basically blocking their level, their fortress. They're blocking their level of the Vaitarani river where they exist on the river and have their dominion. And at the bottom you have Bara or Baram or Shiva Baram, okay, and that's my mark on the mountain, okay. And basically I hold the Damaru, the hourglass of Shiva, and when I turn that hourglass, when it turns on itself, that's the end of the story. That's the end of creation. And yeah, so I got detoured on the story again, sorry. But what I wanted to talk about is the paths in the woods. Okay, so when you get to the Vaitarani River, you emerge from the woods, and there's a signpost, right? And the monk who talked about this is exact. There is a signpost. This is very true. And you emerge, and you get to the river. Some people try to cross. If you cross, big mistake. The other side has nothing there. It wasn't about, the purpose wasn't to cross that way, and you realize that you were being judged all along when you were in that realm as well. Okay, understanding that you're being judged at all time as you are here, right? Because your actions here are your stories that are going to get you across the bridge. Because the bridge, if you take the bridge, which is the bridge of God, okay, and what you're supposed to take, and the weird beings that were guarding it are the archangel of death and an archangel, and that's the bridge that brings you to real heaven. Well, to get across that bridge, you'll be tested on the bridge by God, God's trial, right? When you pass the bridge. And when you pass that bridge, okay, the bridge of faith, okay, a little bit like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is that the one where they cross the bridge from one side to the other side? Well, that's the bridge that brings you to heaven, right? And that's the bridge where you'll be judged. And your good stories of your life are what's going to get you through. And if you don't have enough good stories, if you don't have good stories to get you through to the bridge, and you have bad stories that weigh you down, you'll fall off the bridge into the Vaitarani River. And then you go to the judgment of God, where you go either to hell or you go to reincarnation, the rebirth cycle again. Okay. So you basically go either paradise to hell or you get reincarnated. Okay. Now there are other ways where the things can end up. Okay, because what you're doing is you're looking, and when you're at that level, the Vaitarani River, what's really happening, is because what's really happening is you go into your preliminary judgment area. You're in the judgment area. On the bridge it says you're going to be judged across, but you're already getting judged. You're getting judged based on what decision you take, because you can also turn back into the woods, the signpost, take the woods, get to the woods. And then from the woods, you can try to go into the woods, and that's how people bounce back, by the way. God lets them bounce back through the woods. They don't take a path. They go into the woods and get lost in the woods, and they actually end up coming back into body, and then so that they can tell the story of the Vaitarani River so that people can know the truth. Everything's thought about that way, right? So God gives special permission as he exists at that level for that to happen, the people to bounce back. okay, with knowledge of the river. But what happens here with the case of this monk is that he took the path. He looked at he basically took the paths, different paths, and he saw that there's also paths that you can take in the woods, right? One of them is the large path, and one of them is the small path. And one of them, the large one, is identified for people who don't believe in God. Okay, that's where they go. And the other path, is for people who believe, right? Okay. So here, what happens here is that if you follow into the path where people don't believe in God, you're walking on the path, and something falls from the top and chops you. That's your end. Boom! You're chopped and you fall off the cliff. The cliff. That's the one with the cliff. Okay, you fall off into the cliff after getting chopped. And that's how it happens. If you take that path, that's the path where you think, oh, I don't even believe in God, I don't need God. That's for basically the dummies, the not smart ones. Okay? Now you have the smart path, the other path, what you would call the smart path maybe in the woods, right? And in this path here, you walk on it, and suddenly you get to a golden bridge, and there's a wonderful being that looks like an angel that greets you. And says, hey, how are you? Welcome to heaven. Come on in. You're welcome. We've been waiting for you. And then you walk on this path, and you get into heaven, and everything looks wonderful. Everything looks wonderful, But the thing is, you wonder, this is really cool. I got into heaven. There was no judgment, nothing like that. I must have been a wonderful person. They let me into heaven, But so what you did is you took the path where you thought that you would not need to submit yourself to the judgment of God to go to heaven. Okay? You tried to weasel your way into another path where you don't need to get judged by God. You profess belief, but you're not willing to actually give your life for God. Give your life to God. Put your life in the hands of God, who gave you good life in the first place. Right? So, what happens in that path is you don't want to know where you end up if you take that heaven, right? Because I know. You want to know? I'll tell you. Okay? The short path, the narrow path, brings you to the realm of the demons. Okay? And the demons, picture demonic beings that all reside there, and that once they have you in their claws, they'll never let go of you. They'll drain you for everything you're worth, and you're worth a lot to them because they feed on you. Those are the demons that exist in that fake heaven, and they make it look really beautiful and good for you. If you're stupid enough to go into it, it's like taking the golden cup and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, instead of taking the right one. A little bit. Not quite. Anyways, I made the comparison anyways, since we were talking about that movie and the bridge. So, that's how it is. That's the realm of the demons. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more. Something not many people know is that the demons are forbidden from advertising their home to people. If people walk into it of their own volition, that's their own volition. But they're forbidden by law to advertise. And the story of the monk who came back, right, tells us that when he was there, they planted information in him to make him believe that that was the path people needed to take to go to heaven. And then when the monk came back, after coming back in the woods, right, he basically told the story, and people believed him. And when they died, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go take that path. But the demons are not allowed to advertise. And who stops them from advertising? Rawa. Okay, so they've been punished. So basically, you don't want to take any of those two paths in the woods. Okay, if you're bouncing back, you're going to be you're going to be walking through the woods and the trees. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to take the bridge. Okay, now one of the purposes I share these videos is because you have different lines of different cultures. You have like the line of Buddhism, the line of Hinduism, the line of different cultures, okay, and traditions coming to the river at the end of their death. So picture everybody just appearing in a line in front of people of the culture, walking towards the river, emerging from the woods. That's how it is. And my goal is to kind of move everybody a little bit closer to the bridge, in the sense that just to make people aware to take the bridge, trust the angels, and understand that maybe angels aren't part of your culture, but all cultures are combined. Okay? And the cultures that talk to us about heaven, well, obviously, that was their big contributions, part of their big contributions of sharing the truth of things with us. Like other cultures talk a lot about meditation and self-inquiry and all these things. And that teaches a lot about us as well. Okay? The truth of God is in all cultures, traditions, faiths, and religions of the world. And that's why you have to look at all of them and understand them all, and how they all come together. And from there, you can start to get a good understanding that can propel you forward in what we call jnana yoga, as long as it's accompanied, right, with the practices of yoga, with the breath, the stillness of the mind, focusing the gaze, samadhi and movement, and it goes on and on. Okay. And you can go look at different videos on this channel to learn more about that as well. So this video to talk about a little bit more about, I guess, the realm of the demons, okay, who advertised in a sense through that monk who came back, okay, and they're not allowed to do that, okay. So basically, once again, why was that monk allowed to come back? Well, things end up working out in the end, as they got punished for what they did, and because of that, things move forward and things are revealed for what they truly are, as they always are on the Zenwara channel. So a little bit more information in today's video about what happens at the Vaitarani River at the moment of your death. Okay, at the moment of death, the experience you'll have, some guidance to guide you in basically all the traps and obstacles, whether different cultures may call it different things, for example, some cultures might call it the bardo, or different cultures might call it different things, all the obstacles and paths in your judgment, okay? And different cultures have different understandings of it, and the ones who had the best understanding of the Vaitarani River are the ones who bounced back and shared the message, right? And these people, were basically identified by organizations that look over these things and watch over all these things, right? There are organizations that know very well about the truth of spirituality and the importance of enlightenment to connect to the growth of the universe and all these different things, and of creation, and basically the importance of God's plan, all these different things. So there are some people that have bounced back from the Vaitarani River. I'm thinking about one lady very fondly, who I know bounced back, and she knows the truth of these different things. And these people have gotten together and basically discussed their experiences and basically gone over them together, and they're kept very confidential in a way. These people, the information about them is not necessarily revealed, and I think that if people do choose to come forward and to reveal that information, I think that's great. And I also think they should be supported by the organizations, if they do want to come forward in that sense, that there shouldn't be any obfuscation of information in any sense as well, right? Since this information is really important for all people, for all people to know. So more information on that. So what you want to do is you want to take the bridge, and you want to understand that to get past that bridge, that's the choice of belief in God, and also accepting that you put your life in his judgment if he tells you that judgment is necessary to get to heaven, and not trying to run away or find another solution or anything like that. And then believe me, I say it, yogis are very obstinate in that they try to cross the river by themselves, and then people have to make people they have to be granted mercy so that they can come back and continue their journey, once they've learned their lesson. Okay. So a little bit more about that. So basically, yes, do not take the large path in the woods. That's the chopping block. Okay, and do not take the narrow path that brings you to the realm of the demons. Okay, picture vicious demons with claws, and they put their claws in you and they suck the energy out of you, and you'll never be able to get out of there once they've got their claws in you. Once you accept that it's your place, right? So don't be a sucker for that thing, and understand that you're being judged. You know, and there's a realm of demons. And some of them are quite powerful in there. Some of them are they're not lightly taken, these demons. And they exist in their own realm. They do their own thing on the Vaitarani River, by the Vaitarani River, but they know that they can't step above Rawa, right? So basically, when I say that they've been punished, believe me, you know, it's it's always funny when you see them do little things like that. Like a little bit like the time when the devil stories tried to develop Shiva's third eye. You know, it's fun to have a little intervention once in a while. But kidding aside, and it's not kidding in the sense that it's not true. It's very true what I tell you, always on the Zen Word channel. But kidding aside, because I got to take it with some humor as well, right? Do not take any of those two paths in the woods. For those who listen and practice Sanwara, who listen to the teachings on this channel, from the Sadguru, from the Buddha, from the Shri, and from the Avatar, and let's just stop there. I do say, when you get to the Vaitarani River, remember the bridge. Take the bridge. It'll be identified with the symbol of the heart and the wavy line. If you can't see the symbol, don't worry. There's only one bridge that goes over the river where you're gonna go. Okay, and what you want to do is basically go towards the bridge. Okay, even if you only see it shimmering a little bit on the extremity, go towards it. It'll solidify. It'll be there. Okay, and it'll always be there for you. The bridge is there for everyone. Okay, it's the bridge of God. Okay, and I've explained how all the different at the level of heaven, all the different realms of heaven have combined together, because there's different realms, right? Spheres of heaven have combined together in an alliance between the sphere of Buddha and Buddhism, and the sphere of Hinduism and Rudra, and the sphere of the angels, the archangels, and basically all the enlightened ones. Everyone is combined together in alliance, right? To develop the different streams, to give birth to myself in a way. So we all have to give each other credit. All the different streams of development of the story had to combine together, right? So it was different development streams, right? Or that's what we are. That we develop technologies such as streams. I've talked about this a little bit. So all this coming together, right? And then so that this information can now come to you, right? So everybody has their part in the story, right? From the angels to Archangel, to Rudra, to Buddha, everybody worked on this, so we could all come together to get you this information, this truth, so that you can use it to basically strengthen. Let's use the word strengthen. Strengthen wisely. Let's put strengthen wisely your core, your being, yourself, so that no matter what situation you end up in your life, you'll know the truth of things of creation. Know that there is a God. Know that you are also at all times being observed, right? Because your judgment has started in this realm as well. So, all the things that you do in this creation, in this level as well, in this life here on earth, and for beings not on earth, wherever you are, everything you're doing is being watched. And it'll all be material that'll be reviewed with you at the moment of judgment of your heart, the moment of judgment of your life, to determine if you can go to paradise. And if you can't go to paradise, there's different things that'll happen. Maybe you're up for reincarnation. Maybe you're up maybe you're going to hell. But, one thing's for sure, you do have that choice that you can go to paradise if you're a good person that fits there, you know. And what does that mean? That basically means to go to paradise, well, you need to have those good stories that'll get you across the bridge. And what are the good stories? The good stories are when you're a person that God likes, that God's proud of having created, not a person that God looks at and is ashamed at what that person became, because all they do is maybe hurt others or something like that, and they never got redeemed. They never changed. They might even have gotten the information of God and not changed. So basically, why do we give all this information to you? Because a lot of people, by getting the information of God, will change, right? It can make a very positive impact on everybody to know that there is a God, that there is eternal life, and yes, you need to be good to maintain eternal life. You're always on the caravan of God and in peril of falling off, in peril of your soul, if you will, falling off that caravan and going to hell. And then once you go to hell, if you're very lucky, maybe you'll bounce back. Most likely it'll be deletion after that. You fell off the caravan of eternal life of God, Karparavam. Okay, so a lot of information, as always, but very, very important information to understand. Okay, so what are you? You're a sentient, intelligent vehicle activity. You take your sentient, intelligent vehicle that takes activity. Okay, so basically, hopefully, this information, the information of God presented on this channel, can basically guide you in all the different situations you'll encounter in your life. And also, I think there's an element of hope in all of this as well, knowing that there is a master plan from God, and that, He's giving His time to showing us all light, giving His light to everybody. And now it's for us to accept that light and to store it in our hearts, in our beings, in our minds, and to share that light with everyone.